Hello fellow students and respected teachers. Welcome back to O Levels Along Me. Today I will be teaching biology chapter Cells, the building block of life. So let's get on with the video. What is a cell? A cell is the smallest unit of an organism. It's the smallest functional unit inside a living organism, for example plants, animals, etc. They are chemical factories and many processes occur inside a cell. For example, processing of a raw material into new molecule which can be used by the cell itself or can be transported to other cells. So we have a cell right here. It's a chemical factory, it will process. So we put on all the raw materials and they go inside here. But they come out as different molecules as they are processed, and then they can either be used by the cell itself or they can be transported to another cell for performing a function. For example, we have the example of insulin. Cells inside the pancreas make a hormone called insulin, and insulin is transported to the liver and muscles, where it causes the liver and the muscles to convert glucose to glycogen for storage. In this chapter, we're going to study two kinds of cells. We have an animal cell and we have a plant cell over here. What does a cell consist of? A cell is a unit of life. It is made up of a complex jelly-like substance. It's the living essence of the cell called protoplasm. Protoplasm is 70 to 90% made up of water and the rest is made up of mineral salts. It includes three parts. It can be divided into further three parts: the cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. Now, the protoplasm is a mixture, so its composition may vary from plant to plant and from animal to animal, and also from organ to organ. For example, the protoplasm of a muscle cell is different from that of a brain cell. We haven't studied protoplasms that much. There aren't much discoveries about it, so we don't know exactly what its function, what causes it to function, and so we concluded right over here. Okay, so let's study animal cell. Now we'll be studying the components of an animal cell. Over here I have the diagram of an animal cell under the electron microscope and it's artificially colored. So you can see all of the components right over here. First of all, we have cell membrane. Cell membrane is a thin permeable layer which surrounds the cytoplasm. It is partially permeable, which means that it allows some molecules or substances to pass through it. So you can see this orange line over here, this orange boundary, which shows the cell membrane. It shows the cell membrane is at the boundary. Now, the main function of the cell membrane is to allow the entering or leaving of the substances. It depends on the type of cell we have, that it can tell us that what kind of substances will enter and what will leave. Also, another function of the cell surface membrane or the plasma membrane is to keep the substances of the cell inside. It is a boundary. It protects everything inside from swimming away inside the body. Next up, we have cytoplasm. Most of the cell activities occur here because this is the yellow region I have shown over here. Cytoplasm is basically a jelly-like substance and it's partially liquid. So specialized structures called organelles swim in it. The nucleus, the air vacuoles, the ribosomes, the mitochondria, everything is right inside the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm has some air vacuoles inside it to allow better transportation. For example, I have drawn these white bubbles which show that it includes the air vacuoles. These are the organelles that are swimming inside the cell the centriole, the nucleus. The red spots show the ribosomes, and the blue ones are the mitochondria. So they all swim right inside the cytoplasm. Another part of the animal cell is the nucleus. The nucleus is a small round mass of denser protoplasm. It controls cell activities such as growth and repair, and it also plays an important role in cell division. This is why the red blood cells and other cells without a nucleus cannot divide. You can see the nucleus right here. I have shown it as a pink round mass. This is the nucleus. Now if I take a zoom in picture of the nucleus, this is what it looks like. This is the nucleus. It's made up of 4 parts. First up, we have the nuclear envelope, which is this part is the nuclear envelope. This is what keeps the chromatin and the nucleolus inside. You can see that there are some spaces between the nuclear envelope. That is because it has some nuclear pores inside. In case it needs to divide, it can break up easily. The nucleus can break up easily and divide into 2 sections. Then we have this lighter pink shade, which is the nucleoplasm, and it is basically the denser part, the dense protoplasm. These red thread-like structures are known as chromatin, and this blue one is the nucleolus. Nucleolus plays a part in making of proteins in the cells. So it's the major functional part of the nucleus. Then we have chromatin, which is a mass of long thread-like structures found within the nucleus. Each chromatin thread is made up of proteins which come from the nucleolus and a compound called deoxyribonucleic acid. The deoxyribonucleic acid is abbreviated to DNA. So the chromatin is made up of DNA and proteins. Hereditary information is stored in DNA, and DNA also carries instructions that a cell needs for carrying its activities. So the DNA of a cell is what shows what function the cell will do. When the cell is dividing, the chromatin threads condense. That means that they become thicker and become highly coiled structures called chromosomes. Let me show you what a chromosome looks like. First of all, these threads were like this, but then they become even denser, and they then have centromeres from where another chromosome can join in order to carry out division. Cell division can occur then with ease. Under the light microscope, the chromosomes appear as thick, rod-shaped structures. So this is the whole concept of what a nucleus is like. We have the nuclear envelope, nuclear pores, nucleoplasm, chromatins, and nucleolus. One of the organelles inside the cytoplasm is mitochondria. Mitochondria is a small sausage-like and oval organelle which is inside the cytoplasm. You can see over here, these blue ones are mitochondria. Aerobic respiration occurs in mitochondria, and during aerobic respiration, oxygen is used. So oxygen is used and food substances are oxidized to release energy. This energy may be used by the cell to perform cell activities such as growth and reproduction. So basically the main function of a mitochondria is to perform aerobic respiration and release energy. This energy may also be used by the other components of the cell, such as in the nucleolus for production of proteins, or for transporting substances inside and outside for the cell membrane. Next up is vacuoles. A vacuole is a fluid-filled space enclosed by a membrane. So you can see that the white bubbles right over here have their own membranes that are visible, and they are basically the storage spaces where the food or water inside an animal cell is stored so that it can be transported outside or can be used by the cell in performing its functions. Now, the air vacuoles or the fluid-filled spaces inside the cell over here in the animal cell are basically temporary. It's only inside the animal cells that these vacuoles may appear temporary. Now, this over here, let's just say this vacuole, this may end or finish over time, and a new one might form right over here or here. Moving on, we will study about the plant cell. The first component of the plant cell is the cell wall. Only a plant cell has a cell wall. It surrounds the cell membrane and it is made up of cellulose. It gives the structural support to the cell. So you can see that this green part, this outer boundary, this green part is what's called the cell wall. And it is fully permeable. But this cell wall is absent in animal cells as they do not need structural support, and that it protects the cell from injury and gives the plant cell a fixed shape. Now, the components discussed for animal cells such as the nucleus, the cytoplasm and cell membrane are the same for the plant cell. But there is one thing new, another organelle. You can see over here this green part over here, this oval-like structure. This is basically the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are oval structures found in plant cells only. They contain a green pigment called chlorophyll. So basically this chloroplast has stacks of membranes containing chlorophyll inside it, which are later on used for photosynthesis because the chlorophyll traps sunlight. It uses energy from the sun and it is used in photosynthesis, which is the production of food by the plant itself using light energy. For the vacuole, you can see that plant cells have a large central vacuole which contains a liquid called cell sap. Cell sap contains dissolved substances such as sugar, mineral salts, and amino acids. This large vacuole is enclosed by a partially permeable membrane called the tonoplast. So basically this black border is known as the tonoplast, and inside here is a liquid-like structure called liquid-like substance called cell sap, and it includes sugar, mineral, and amino acids. So these substances inside the cell may be used by the nucleus to perform the cell's functions. You can see that the yellow part is the cytoplasm. And one more thing, that the plant cell does not have ribosomes. The red spots that were inside the animal cell, the plant cell does not have them. Okay, now let's pull up a comparison between the plant cell and the animal cell. You can see the shape difference. This one has a fixed shape. It may be a little rectangular or round, but the animal cell has a irregular shape. In a plant cell, the cell wall is present, this green part, but in an animal cell, there is no cell wall. In a plant cell, there is cell membrane and also inside the animal cell. But chloroplasts are only present inside the plant cell and they are not present inside the animal cell. In the animal cell, we have centrioles, which is basically this brown part, you can see. Centrioles are only present inside an animal cell and they are not present inside a plant cell. Centrioles are small, hollow cylinders, and a pair of centrioles is usually found close to a nucleus. They play an important role in the cell division. Next up, we have the difference. Another difference is that the plant cell has a very large single central vacuole, whereas animal cells have temporary vacuoles which are small and may vary in number. Both of them have nucleus, both of them have mitochondria, both of them have cell surface membrane, and the cell surface membrane is partially permeable. The mitochondria perform aerobic respiration to give off energy. The nucleus has chromatin, the nucleus has nucleolus, it has the nuclear envelope, nuclear poles, and both cells work to perform its function. Both of them are chemical processing factories which use raw materials, and then using the raw materials they perform their functions. This is a cell. It's the smallest functional unit of a living organism. Now, if we have a collection of cells, what will we have? We will have a tissue. Now, a tissue may perform using all of these cells inside here and perform one single function. A collection of tissues will form an organ, such as I have my hand over here. This is an organ. You can have organs like, for example, heart, liver, lungs. All of them are made up of specialized tissues having the specific function performing cells. Then, when we have a lot of organs performing a group of functions, then we can say that that is an organ system. For example, we have our heart, veins, and arteries to pump blood. All of them are used for the transportation of blood. So that is the blood transporting system, organ system of our body. We have liver, stomach, and esophagus, everything just so that it can perform the digestion process. So those are the digestive organ system. In short, the levels of organization in living things are in the following sequence. First of all, we have cells which join up to make tissue. Tissues join up to make an organ, and many organs join up to make an organ system. A whole organ system joined together with another organ system will make an organism, and that's what completes a living organism. Let's try a question from past papers, June 2003, paper 1, question 1. The question asks, the diagram shows a cell. So this is a plant cell they're showing. Which numbers show the part's name? We have option A saying that the cell membrane is 1, cell wall 2, cytoplasm 3. Option B says 1 is cell membrane, cell wall is 2, and cytoplasm is 4. Option C says cell membrane is 2, cell wall is 1, and cytoplasm is 3. Option D says cell membrane is 2, cell wall is 1, and cytoplasm is 4. Okay, so let's see what the actual image has to say. So in the diagram, 1 is touching the cell membrane part, 2 is at the boundary, so it's the cell wall. Number 3 is any organelle inside. It might be chloroplast, it might be mitochondria. And then we have 4, which is pointing at the jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. So automatically option number B is the right option for this question. Okay, moving on, we have this question which appeared in the May-June series 2011. Diagram shows a plant cell. Which features are not found in an animal cell? Okay, so first of all, let's identify what are the parts of the cell shown. Number 1 is the cell wall. Number 2 is the cell membrane. Number 3 is the chloroplast. Fourth one is the nucleus. And fifth one, I think it's the air vacuole. So we have to tell which ones are not found in an animal cell. Of course, the animal cell does not have a cell wall. So 1 and we have the one showing is A and B. Option A and B. One of these would be the answer. Option A talks about the cell membrane. But an animal cell does have a cell membrane because 2 is the cell membrane. So automatically option B is the right answer, 1 and 3, because 3 is the chloroplast shown. This last question appeared in June 2007. The diagram shows 3 different cells not drawn to the same scale. Which are the animal cells? So we have to identify which one is the animal cell. We can see that the diagram number 1 is the root hair cell. Number 2 is the sperm cell, and number 3 is the red blood cell. So animals do not have root hair cells. So automatically 1 is not the answer. 2 and 3 is the correct answer, and so option C is the correct option for this question. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Turn on the notification button if you want to get notified for new uploads. Bye!